Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to this first day of the Stories in Transit event. We're delighted to be able to host the first day here at the Bullingdon Road site of the Ruskin School of Art. Marina approached me back around about Easter, I think, of this year, and told me that she was working with colleagues in Italy on this programme of events, about which previously I knew nothing. So our conversations and our email correspondence were a discovery, and a delightful discovery for me. And it very quickly became apparent that we must find some way of supporting Marina and her colleagues in this endeavour. So the idea that we could host part of this two-day event was a delightful one. And so it comes to fruition. We are really delighted to be able to act as host today. You are very welcome here. This building, you'll probably detect, is quite a new building. It opened just 2 years ago in autumn 2015. We had a presence on this site prior to that, but it was little more than a glorified hangar. In fact, probably not even glorified. It was just a hangar. So this is a tremendous transformation, and we've always felt that it has great potential to be used in all sorts of ways over and beyond our core teaching purposes. And so this is just the sort of event that we are delighted to be able to play host to. I would love to be able to be here throughout the day today. Unfortunately, I can't, but I have looked at the list of participants on the back of your programme, and I think just that list of participants tells me immediately that you are in for an exciting, stimulating day in which there will be a great exchange of thoughts and ideas between and amongst people coming from a whole range of different disciplines. And I think it's that interdisciplinarity in the conversations which you're clearly going to have today, which I find one of the most exciting prospects for the day. Underlying it, of course, is the, to me, extremely important cause which informs this series of events as a whole. I will stop there and hand over to the people who are important in setting up the agenda for the day. So Valentina, I think you're going to speak next, and then hand over to Marina. So a warm welcome to you all, and do enjoy your day.
Thank you so much. Yes, first of all, I think we would like to thank again the Ruskin School of Art for hosting the event, and the Metabolic Studio, Souls College, for their continuous support. Thank you for all of you for coming here today. Those who have already contributed to previous events, both in the UK and in Palermo, thank you for your contribution at every single step, and thank you for the newcomers, because I think that today you'll be helping with something I really like, of which is visualizing shapes, creating shapes, giving materiality to something which is just ideas. I am here as a representative of the Palermo side of the project. I'm here with Clelia Bartoli, who's been leading a group of refugees, of young refugees in Palermo. As you see, we'll be talking later about this group, which is called Giocherenda. We're sorry they can't be here in person. We would have loved to, but laws and regulations and time, they didn't allow us to have at least two of them here. So they are here in spirit. We'll be talking to them later. But what I want to say is that in Palermo there's a group which has been working, and then we will see how we will be able to contribute and how the exchange can go on and what we might need to go ahead with the project. And I'll stop here. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Valentina. For those of you who haven't been to Sicily with us, You won't know that Valentina is the absolute catalyst of the whole project with Clelia Bartoli. Without the connections that they've established through the fairly large community working to help the enormous numbers of refugees arriving in Sicily, without them we couldn't possibly have got this going. So it really is absolutely indispensable, and I'm incredibly grateful to them that this little tiny fragment of an idea has actually found a place where it seems to be at least providing some inspiration to some of the arrivals in Europe. There are one or two further thanks I will need to give. First of all, to the IIED, the International Institute for Environment and Development, who made it possible for us to receive the money from the Metabolic Foundation. I won't go into the rigmarole of charity law, but that was absolutely essential. And Camilla Tullman, who can't be here today, has been invaluable. She's an anthropologist and works on West Africa, from where many of the migrants come from. And she has been an extraordinary enabler of the whole situation. And then I must thank David Swift, who's been working with the refugees in between, trying to keep up some continuity of the inspiration. And that's been very important. They asked for it, and of course it's very difficult for us to take people there and to keep contact. Many of us have jobs and so forth. So that's been extremely helpful that he's gone back to Sicily a few times in between. He's a toy maker and sort of dramatist, really, kind of performer. And then I must thank all of you. It's absolutely wonderful how you all responded and wanted to take part. Now, these 2 days have 3 aims. This is slightly complicated that we have this, but it's to do with the complexity of the situation of the arrivals themselves in Sicily. So the first principle is that there's not much space for their inner lives. So we want allowed them. There's no sort of space created for that. So we want to try and create some kind of portable space that could arrive in any community very easily, very, very, very light and not sort of temporary or provisional, but nevertheless would create a kind of enclave that has a different atmosphere. I will show you some images. So that's one thing, and we've called it a story box. It absolutely doesn't have to be a box. It can be, I don't know, a bucket or just something, a hamper. And then the second one is the contents. So the box must be, this enclave precinct needs to be conceived as a container, so that it would arrive and be unfolded, and in it there would be spurs and prompts and cues to creating stories. And then the third thing is that the stories they will create, and that we are hoping to create some kind of performance, which is approximately what we managed last time. Not necessarily so polished enough for professional spectacle, but enough to engage and enjoy and entertain the participants. And the principle of that is that stories are something which you still have when you have nothing else, because they're in your head. They are the portable goods of your imagination, and they can have been created by contact with your kin and your family and your community, or they can simply be developed out of sparks of imagination. And that again is a kind of freedom that in our era of confessional autobiography, with huge emphasis the narrative is somehow subjective, true, and personal. We are forgetting the riches of the idea of the collective story, the story that is actually transmitted and elaborated, mistaken, misremembered, and then elaborated. And if you look at the history of literature, most of which is pre-print, this is how it worked. It was always written down by somebody, by a scribe, by somebody, but it worked as a community speaking freely from imagination. And that's how the story of the Trojan War is told by Homer. So those are our three aims today. And I'm now going to hand over to Selma Dabar, who's a writer, Palestinian-British writer, novelist, and civil rights lawyer, who's going to chair the next panel, the first panel. Thank you and welcome.